Chris Lee of Southeastern 14, presented by Bearded Iris, here to talk about SEC baseball from Saturday, April 15th. And we'll start in Nashville, where I am. I got to see this one in person today. Wild game between Vanderbilt and South Carolina. The Gamecocks are up 4-0 in the first. Carter Holton made an unexpected start for Vanderbilt, just didn't have control command. Carolina pounced on him quickly, had the bases loaded with 2 outs, and Vanderbilt brings in Grayson Carter, who had not pitched on a weekend in SEC play all year. He gets out of that jam. Vandy hands it over to Patrick Reilly, who pitched a third of an inning in SEC play this year. He goes 4 scoreless. The Commodores, in the meantime, tack on several runs. They get a 2-run homer from R.J. Schreck and a solo shot from Jack Bolger. Schreck made an amazing catch in foul territory later in that game. Anyway, Vandy's bullpen, those two and Nick Maldonado hold on. Commodores end up winning that. They hit James Hicks and Chris Veach a little bit and knocked Jack Mahoney out early. Carolina's defense didn't do the Gamecocks any favors with 4 errors. Vandy now 12-2 in the SEC and a game and a half ahead of 10-3 South Carolina at the top of the SEC standings. Okay, in Fayetteville, Hog fans, you guys have been waiting for this one. Arkansas beats Tennessee 6-3. Arkansas has 4 hits, but man, made them count. Jace Borfin has another home run. I think Tennessee walked or hit 8 batters. Arkansas just really turned the tables on the Vols when they got those runners on. Arkansas got, I believe it was 3 in the 7th. Camden Sewell for Tennessee had an error in there. Arkansas gets a couple singles. And I thought the big story for the Hogs, Will McEntire, who's been a little bit hit and miss, not an overpowering guy, but he can throw strikes. And McEntire came in, gave the Hogs 6 great innings in his start. And Gage Wood, their freshman, comes in, shuts the door with a 3-inning save. Now, it got a little interesting at the end as the pitch count went over 50. Actually, Wood wild pitched a guy in with 3 wild pitches. You don't see that often. So that was kind of a white-knuckle save. But kudos to Arkansas for hanging on, going to 10-4 in the SEC atop the West. For Tennessee, it's just kind of the same story. Chase Dolander looks dominant at times. He strikes out 8, but here's the problem. 93 pitches in 4 1/3 innings. He just couldn't consistently hit the zone, and the Hogs made him pay. Camden Sewell comes in and really wasn't very good. Didn't look like himself. He just was such a great reliever a year ago, but just couldn't find the zone tonight. Wasn't missing by a lot, but was missing by enough that it mattered. He walks 3. Gives up 3 runs, all earned in an inning and 2/3. The Vols' frustrations against a brutal schedule continue. Tennessee now 5-9 in the SEC, 23-12 overall. Fascinating game in Baton Rouge. I didn't get to see this any today, but I did watch the roaming box score, I guess is a good way to say it. The stat feed, that's what I'm trying to say. And it just seemed like each of these teams had an opposing pitcher on the ropes from about the 3rd or 4th inning on. LSU ends up prevailing on a day where nobody could find consistent pitching for long. Bryce Collins gives the Tigers 2 1/3 innings scoreless to end the game with 4 strikeouts. LSU started Christian Little. He was great for 3 innings, and then in the 4th, it fell apart. He walked, I think, 3 guys in a row. I want to say on about 13 pitches. LSU went to Gavin Guidry. He gave up a couple runs in that one, and Kentucky pieced it together with 5 guys. None of them were great. Tyler Bosma started. Actually, he pitched fairly well. 1 earned run and 3 1/3 against LSU is really good. For the Tigers, Jared Jones hits 2 home runs, knocks in 2 runs. Dylan Cruz, the batting average watch is on. He's hitting 500 after day. He goes 1 for 3. Kentucky pieces together 7 hits, takes 8 walks, and Kentucky just does what Kentucky does. It gets runners on, it steals bases, it bunts, does all kinds of stuff, but was just short today in Baton Rouge. I think Kentucky's a terrific team, and I thought that was a very impressive series, the way the Cats played down in Baton Rouge. Now, here's one I didn't see coming. Florida beats Georgia 2-1 on Saturday night. That was a pitcher's duel. Now, if you had Georgia and Florida down for a pitcher's duel on Saturday night. Congratulations to you, because I didn't see that coming. Georgia might have found a little something with Charlie Goldstein. He goes 5 innings, gives up 1 run. He was really good against Kentucky last week, and I think got the win there. I think this is one of those games where both teams probably felt good about the way they came out of it. Georgia needs to stack up some wins. It's now 4-10 in the SEC. But again, the pitching has been just such a headache for Scott Strickland. But they find something with Goldstein. Colton Smith was almost perfect in relief of him. Chandler Marsh gave up a walk-off, I think, single at the end of Michael Robertson. For Florida, Hurston Waldrop, who's been a little erratic with the control, strikes out 8 over 7 innings of 1-run ball. And Georgia, again, the record's not good, but that lineup can flat out mash. So holding Georgia to 1 run, and Ryan Slater comes in. He actually gets the win in this one with 2 scoreless innings. Again, I think both teams, with their struggles with pitching, have to feel really good about how that went in a game 2 after a game 1 where I think it was 13-11. Florida hits 2 grand slams and loses that game. So I think both teams wanting to find some pitching, and both did a little bit on Saturday night's game. Okay, the Iron Bowl of baseball is now even at 4-2. Speaking of pitching, I've talked about how Alabama is a team I think is better than the record. I think that pitching staff is still, even with the injuries, one of the better ones in the league. Garrett McMillan had not been able to go much this year. He pitched, I think, 2 1/3 coming in. He goes 5 against Auburn, shuts down a really good hitting Auburn team. He gives up no earned runs, 1 hit, 4 strikeouts, and 8 fly ball outs in that game. The bullpen comes in and is good enough. Auburn went with 5 guys. John Armstrong, their swing guy, comes in the second and third innings and holds Alabama scoreless. But Alabama didn't need to do much. I think Pinckney had an RBI with a walk, and there was another RBI hit in there. Matt Cassette, their catcher, had a 2 RBI hit early in that game. I think that was in the second inning. It was. So Alabama gets a much-needed win. Both those teams now 5-9 in the Southeastern Conference. Okay, this was not at the top of the radar of interesting games in terms of impact on standings. In fact, all it probably did was make one team a little more likely to go to Hoover and another team a little more likely to miss it. But in a great ball game. And by the way, kudos to Mississippi State fans. State put 16,423 fans at the Dude today in an in-state rivalry, which State walks off. I believe it was, who was it? They get a late RBI walk-off hit to end that game, and that was from Dakota Jordan. That's right. So he gets a single to left through the infield, knocks in 2. That comes off Sam Tukian. For Ole Miss, Xavier Rivas was fair, gave up 4 runs, all earned in 5 2/3 inning. State is starting to find some pitching in little pieces. Landon Gartman starts this one, gives up 1 earned in 4 innings. The bullpen, Aaron Nixon gives them a scoreless inning. Nate Dome, who is their best arm and kind of utility relief guy, finishes it out, gets the win, gives up 2 earned runs in 2 innings. For State, Colton Ledbetter hit 2 more home runs. Hunter Hines hit 1. Both those guys are having really good offensive seasons. They're going kind of unnoticed because of the year State is having. And Anthony Calarso hits 1 for Ole Miss, which now is 3-11 in the league, a game behind 4-10 Mississippi State. Okay, finally, in College Station, Missouri earlier in the day wins that one 13-5. I think the winning team scored 13 runs in all 3 of those games. The first 2 days, that was A&M. But Missouri salvages that series. Chandler Murphy, their lefty, goes 4 1/3 innings, give up 4 runs. Austin Trosser was really good in relief, goes 2 2/3. And Western Carolina transfer Zach Franklin gives up a run in the final 2 innings. For A&M, it's the same story. The pitching just wasn't very good. Carson Lambert, their starter, gives up 4 earned in 2/3 of an inning. Justin Lambskin pitches in relief this time. He gives up 1 earned run, 3 total. Will Johnson gives up 4 earned runs. From Missouri, Luke Mann, who's one of the league's better and more underappreciated hitters, hits a couple home runs and a double. Knocks in 7 today. I think that was probably a day high. Trey Morris hits a home run. Missouri now 5-10 in the SEC, just hanging on in that attempt to get to a regional. A&M is 7-8. Would have liked to have been 8-7. Been playing much better late since that sweep in Knoxville. but the bats didn't quite get there for A&M today. They've been red hot. So anyway, thank you for watching our summary of Southeastern 14 baseball presented by Bearded Iris. We'll have videos all next week, previews, power rankings, hitter rankings, pitcher rankings. Be sure to hit that subscribe button so you can catch them all. Hit the like button. That helps our analytics. Thanks for watching.